Hey, welcome to the Danger Zone. It's Ashley. You guys, everything in my video can be found on a public domain in the full disclaimers down below. Lots of love and many blessings your way. Big thank you to my buddy Shoshana. I appreciate you so much. Picking up where we left off yesterday, before we get on to what I need to really tell you, let's talk about this real fast. You know what? When I was looking at all these pictures yesterday, it didn't even dawn on me about the teeth. My friend Shosh is a dental hygienist. Has been for more than 30 years. During her career as a dental hygienist, at one point she even trained on how to identify a deceased person using their dental records. She says, I can tell you teeth, I know lips, I know teeth. That was her everyday life for quite some time. And believe it or not, our teeth are very genetic. It has everything to do with the size of our jawbone, and we get that hereditarily. When a person's jawbone is too small, gaps in the teeth may occur, and as a result the teeth are spaced too far apart. So the size of your teeth and jawbone can be determined by genetics. So diastema can run in families. This overgrowth causes a separation between these teeth, resulting in a gap. Now look at these pictures again and go back to the teeth. Now I'm looking at the ear placement as well, and in Shosh's professional opinion, this is Meghan's child, and I totally agree. And don't forget what the lady that holds those golfing charities for celebrities said. How she was proud that the royal family have allowed a woman with a child to marry their prince. Speaking of mistakes, man, they made a big mistake. This is quite the doozy of a mistake. How they're going to fix this, I have no clue, but they'll try. People don't make those kind of mistakes, y'all. And in my opinion, this huge mistake undoes everything they've tried to do. Remember back during the holidays when he posted this on his Instagram? You guys, he claimed he was in Vancouver Island. And when he had to call off the Invictus Games, he was in Vancouver Island as well. Same exact background, same exact space. Okay, so he recently had a video chat with the Well Child group from Los Angeles, California. Not same exact Harry, but we'll get to that. I'm curious to see what PR spin they're going to try to put on this. This is the exact same background from the holiday Santa, from his Invictus cancellation, and now his Well Child in LA. What is going on with these people? They goofed bad, and I don't know how they're going to clean it up. You know, even though they're in the same spot, I do not believe those are the same Harrys. I just don't, which is going to be something we're going to talk about in a minute. But I wanted to tell you guys something else too they kind of undone. All of their stories keep changing, and this does nothing but make me more curious as to what's going on. Back in March 29th, they said they had a low-key birthday planned for baby Archie at Balmoral Estate. They felt it was necessary to spend his first birthday with family, the Queen in particular. And I have to say something, the Daily Mail are on their toes, buddy. They're not going to mess things up. In my opinion, the Daily Mail have always been on point. Next thing we're hearing is Meghan and Harry were disappointed because they were forced to scrap plans for a celebrity-filled birthday bash for little 1-year-old Archie in Los Angeles due to the sickness. So which is it, Meghan and Harry? Did you plan a very low-key with family-only birthday? Or did you plan a celebrity-filled bash? Let's face it, it's not a good look when they keep tripping over their own stories. Like this one, where they claimed just several days ago to have donated more than $100,000 to the sickness relief, providing food for the hungry. When they were questioned about it, everything changed. We'd be crazy to think that came out of their personal stash. But that's the picture they wanted everybody to believe. Truth of the matter is, the $158,000 donated was from profit made on their wedding. Wow. It's just gross to me, I'm sorry. Here's another one. Okay, on Easter Sunday, surrounded by an absolute fleet of security officers, they hopped in their vehicle going from sick person to sick person, delivering hot meals. In Los Angeles, no doubt about it. That's how absolutely stupid they think people are. And most people are buying this. I'm going to call him Harry Houdini from now on. He's in 2 places at one time. Who can do that? So my uncle was physically disabled. They want to say physically and mentally, but he was not mentally disabled. Physically, yes. One of the smartest people I've ever met in my life, honestly. So I watched my grandparents take care of my uncle, and when my grandfather passed away, my grandmother did it all by herself. What a job it was. And things that we all take for granted, such as going to a restaurant, sitting down and having dinner. My grandmother would have somebody load my uncle up into the car. They would drive over to Pizza Hut. She'd order their dinner, and they'd eat it in front of the restaurant in the parking lot. That was his restaurant experience. God bless these parents. It takes somebody very special to have a handicapped child. And I would imagine one would have empathy and compassion and would watch what they say. The parents, caretakers, and loved ones of these handicapped people. That wasn't the case during the video conference for the well child. Harry was trying to blow a lot of hot air. Real pretty, wrapped in a nice bow, hot air. Find activities, he says. Keep your mind occupied. Stay busy. Be creative. And that's easy for someone in Harry's position. And he went on to say this. His lockdown time spent with baby Archie included rolling around in hysterics. I found that to be extremely cold and insensitive. How does that make someone who's in a debilitated position feel? How does that make their caretakers, family, and loved ones feel? If there was an Archie, they're getting visuals of a normal functioning child, laughing it up, enjoying their problem-free life. Not to mention, these people felt like they had been left behind and forgotten by their own government. I felt that was an extremely selfish statement to make on Harry's end. Care for a special needs person takes a lot of money and supplies, food. They're not feeling any sense of security. So how in the world did Meghan and Harry think that statement was okay to make? Archie or no Archie, they have no worries, no insecurities. These people do. You know what, you guys? The Harrys that have been in these little bits of videos do not look like the same from one to the next. There is a noticeable difference between these men. One has a rounder face and the other one has a longer face. One has a set of blue eyes and the other one has a set of brown eyes. One most definitely has vision problems in one of his eyes. It's an extremely dull eye. Their skin tone's not even the same. Not to mention there's one walking around with a mighty large goose egg on his head. I know these people use doubles, and in my opinion, that just fuels the lack of trust. You know what I'm saying? Why would they need a double or a stand-in for any reason, and they all do it? Meghan has doubles and stand-ins too. The tone of her skin changes, but that's probably due to bronzer. The thing I look at the most is the texture of her skin. There's nobody that goes from smooth to rough skin overnight. It just can't happen. I noticed the difference between an almond-shaped eye, a wider eye, the nose hump, a smooth nose, a scoopy point to the end of the nose, a very thick end of the nose. It changes. It's just too often. And I know she used a lot of filler and Botox during the quote-unquote pregnancy, but there were changes then too. You know, years ago when I used to run into people talking about double stand-ins, just different conspiracy theories, I would laugh, tell them they're crazy, but then I fell into the rabbit hole. There seems to be no bottom to this hole. A good friend of mine named Kay, and I thank you so much, sent me to a web address that explains what's going on here. That address will be in my description below. Speaking of wild stories that I now believe, let me share one with you that I find quite interesting. Have you guys ever heard of the name James Francis Alexander? He was a young British man that wrote a book in 2014, and it was called The Real Prince Harry, The Truth Behind the Royal Lies. In this book that has since been demolished, completely wiped off the face of the planet, he claimed that he was Princess Diana's son, the real Prince Harry, and here's how his story goes. He said he was replaced by a look-alike at Queen Elizabeth's demand when he was 8 years old, after he threatened to reveal that Prince Charles was not his biological father. He says one night while he was sleeping, he was woken up by his father's butler and driven to Lincolnshire, where he was exchanged then with the son of Lord Edward James Alexander's son. Not only were they the same age, but they had physical features, kind of looking alike. Fair skin, red hair. He went on to receive a lot of intense coverage for a minute from the British tabloids. But then, suddenly, He had disappeared from the media after a few days, generating rumors of a cover-up among conspiracy theorists. They say that several copies of his book had been sold, but then his publisher had surprisingly decided not to have any more copies printed, and it rapidly disappeared from bookstores. The young man then accused the royal family of pressuring his publisher and his editor in order to have this book taken off the shelves. While at a London book fair in 2014, Prince Charles had come up to him and said, "Hey, look, you're a bastard. Leave my family alone." Directly after that incident happened, he fled England, moving over to Ireland. He confided in his friends that he felt extremely unsafe. He had been receiving multiple death threats, and MI5 had been harassing him. Now, his buddy said he had been in recent contact with the British Embassy concerning an eventual, return to England. He had even had dinner with someone from the embassy at the end of the month of March, probably less than 24 hours before he was killed. He was staying at some sort of like a B&B, a long-term hotel. Now, the Irish police were called out there after the smell was just too rotten to endure anymore by his neighbors. Now, according to the Irish police, they said the young man had multiple bullet wounds, and they found some signs of struggle in his room. They said it looked like he had been attacked by more than one assailant, probably 2 or 3 individuals carrying pistols. The poor man didn't stand a chance. He was hit by more than 20 bullets, probably fired by silenced weapons, since none of his neighbors heard anything. And that's how that case has been left since 2015. Now, in my personal opinion, I think he and William look more alike than William and whatever Harry's roaming around these days. Now, if we're to believe all of this, and I do, the Harry we see today is biologically related to these two people. And I can totally see the resemblance. I do. More so than Prince Charles and William. I don't see that at all. This man was at one point the Lord of Lincolnshire. He is spending the next 25 years to life in prison for slapping his wife. Now, doesn't that seem like quite a stiff penalty? But if you want people out of the way, I guess you'll do anything. And it totally explains this picture I'm about to show you. Look at this. Why was Harry added to this picture? He seems to be right around 8 or 9. Where was he? Was he being reprogrammed? Why did they feel it necessary to add Harry? We know the royal family have a load of secrets, and they're not the only people that know these secrets. Now, if the young man's name was James Francis Alexander, I find it quite strange that this article was posted. James and Alexander were 2 of the top names people wanted for baby Archie. What kind of game are they playing? Oh my gosh. So do I really trust any of them? Heck no. I don't think they donated money out of their pocket. I don't think he's in LA. I don't think he's in Canada. I don't think they've gone around feeding the hungry. I don't think there was going to be a little boy's birthday party with the Queen. It's hard to trust anything these people say. You guys, I've talked way too much. I'll see you soon. We'll talk faster. Stay safe and be blessed.